Alright guys, I wanted to do some chart analysis on AMC because I think this is what you guys care about right now while the market is crashing. We could do an update video, we could throw some DD, but ultimately I think it was kind of a boring day. The Fed is just slaughtering the market. It's going to aim for new lows, and today, a nice Friday evening, I want a beautiful chart analysis, a short video for you guys. So if you enjoy this video, please consider smashing a like, hit that subscribe button, yada yada yada. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so as many of you know, we've been tracking these short cycles right here. And essentially what these cycles are showing is that every time a cycle ends and a new one repeats, you get a big move. And in my opinion, this is a break in the algorithm or a chance to break the algorithm. You see it once right here, nice pop right here, big jump right here. Take a look at this one, however, and it's an inverse. Okay, you see it right here. Now that's interesting because this entire cycle actually ended up playing out inverse as well. Again, you see the big pop right here, end cycle, new one. Little pop right here, and ultimately you're coming up on that spot once again right in the near future. Alright, so that's what we've been tracking, but that's not what I wanted to talk about. You know, what I wanted to talk about is actually the first little run to the second run that we actually got put through. So if you align these cycles back to back to back to back, it actually matches the chart, which is really interesting. The only thing that gets people confused is that some parts of a cycle play out inverse, so they think that the algos are actually changing when they're not. But here's what I found. Okay, so after the third cycle, we had an inverse cycle. And right now, we just ran 2 cycles. So I said, okay, if we're in this part of this cycle, then we're in this part of this cycle, or somewhere in that time frame, right, from back to the beginning. Let's pop over to the 1 hour, and we're gonna scroll all the way back to right here. If this was the case, and we were at the same time in this cycle, this is what you would drag all the way over to the new cycle. However, when I did that, I found that this cycle played out actually at the beginning. Alright, now let's get into the meat and potatoes of the video. Here is what I found out. The cycle that we are in right now is not inversed. It's not a regular cycle. However, it is a flipped cycle. This cycle is performing backwards, right? Because this cycle that was supposed to be ended right here and begun on where we're at now actually started early. So all I did was take the bars pattern of this cycle and drag it all the way over. Now let's flip it. Just to give you some reference, you have this flat area right here. The scale up, the sell off, the U, right, that you see in this cycle right here. The push up, right, you see the push up, the double highs that you see in the cycle. Ultimately a choppy push down. Now let's overlay this. Now I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm going to give you the worst case scenario because that looks like what is playing out. What are hedge funds doing? What are algorithms doing? So the algorithm is playing a backwards cycle in this case, and what that means is that AMC is not necessarily at its low yet, but it is very, very close to it, so it could find its low by the end of today or the end of Monday, or maybe the cycle's a little bit off and it has found its low, right? Either way, it's a few percent. What this does mean, though, is that the algorithm is slowly going to push this up, let it fly, and it's going to tap this trend line again. Now, what I don't like about this is how perfect it looks. It touches the overall trend line that this thing has been rejected on every single time. Essentially, what you would see is another tap on this trend line at about 1488 mid-October before a sell-off back to the lows that we saw back here on the 11th of May. However, remember that we are only on the second cycle. Therefore, the third cycle that we've been waiting for can play out by pushing this thing back to the upside. So I'm going to give you bullish case scenario because I think this is also likely, especially with the market conditions putting pressure on certain hedge funds and institutions. If this played out something along the lines of this, because again, just because that the cycle is playing backwards doesn't mean the entire cycle can play the way it's supposed to play. A lot of times it's inverse. So what can happen is exactly what I have drawn out right here with the trend lines is what you could see essentially before the next cycle starts. Either way, next week AMC is coming up on a point of interest, and this has a chance to A, break the algorithms and create us a new high, or B, just press us through another cycle. Now I gave you bearish case scenario. My bullish case scenario would be that at some point this actually breaks out of this trend line, comes and rebases, and gets a rip starting the next cycle. Now, starting the next cycle would be about October 17th, so that is the time frame we would be looking at. Until then, I would need to see a crazy move in AMC. But overall, guys, I wanted to show you some cycle analysis and where we're at on AMC right now. I didn't give my entire full take on this because I didn't give my opinion. However, just turn post notifications on because I assume this is going to be a crazy weekend with what I have to come out with AMC and the overall market. So just make sure to do that. Make sure to hit that like button because I do appreciate it. Thank you guys for 6K subs. Hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment down below. What do you think of this analysis? Also, make sure to get your 10 free stocks pinned in the top of comments and linked in the description down below for downloading Moomoo and depositing $100 to trade on there. I love you all, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Join the free Discord down below. Become a member of the channel. Drop a super thanks. Whatever you guys want to do to support the channel. I love you all. Lottery Stocks out.